Welcome to Virtually Live, the podcast where we get insights from marketing leaders and event professionals. I'm Ashley, Content Marketing Manager at Kaltura. Crafting an effective event strategy is a huge task, but a significant part of the process can be taken on by AI. In today's episode, we'll explore just how AI contributes to recommending the perfect event content, simplifying attendee management, and shaping event strategies themselves. Let's start with Microsoft's former corporate VP Global Events, Bejan. Enjoy!
I would say that we're very much in the experimentation phase still when it comes to AI and events. I think we're excited because in 2.5 weeks, we're going to roll out a couple of co-pilot-like features in the Ignite experience. But I think in general, when you think about how AI might make events better, both on the production side and on the attendee side. You start on the attendee side, thinking about things like taking the sum total of all the information we understand from you, events you've gone to in the past, things you've told us by the products you've bought or those kinds of things, or your job title and where you work, being able to recommend a full curriculum of all the right sessions just for you, as an example, is something that's very simple, but could be really valuable to an attendee. As we know, many attendees struggle with building their agendas out of all the sessions and all the things, all the offerings that we deliver. So that's one. Another one you could imagine with the travel and the expenses and all of that, you need to justify to your boss or manager or supervisor, why you're doing all of this, right? And why you're incurring this investment by your company. Events co-pilot could be paying attention to everything you're doing all through the show, all the sessions you've gone to and everything, and then assembling a trip report for you that you could then attach to your expense report for your supervisor, which could be pretty compelling. So, I think there's some really interesting things on the attendee side. On the production side, I think the idea of, the thing I think we're looking at first is this notion of translation, which is today an extraordinarily expensive and really handcrafted kind of process that takes a lot of time and is at kind of cross purposes with the way our business works, which is stories come together very late, a lot of change all the way to the end. But, if you have to translate things kind of largely by hand, quote unquote, it's not that, but somewhat, you got to get those final scripts in weeks in advance to be able to do it. So that's what we think of as very low hanging fruit to be able to apply a large language model on a body of content and then translate it in, 4, 8, 20, 40 languages in a very short time frame. That's something that's pretty exciting to us. We put the in-person tickets on sale for Ignite here in Seattle. And 8 days later, we were sold out, 5,000 tickets like that, and you just go like, wow, it's been a while since we've had that kind of velocity. We had, in the London show that we just did last week, we were hoping to get 1,500 business decision makers to that Envision stop. We got 3,400, so the appetite, and that's all. And, look, it's a big piece of it is the brand, Microsoft is, but an even bigger piece in this particular time is like, hey, the title of the thing was, how to lead in the AI transformation. And so people are interested. People want to know, and I think more than in a very long time, there's a real interest in understanding the concepts and then also understanding how it can apply practically as the AI capability gets stronger and stronger and can be not only reactive to the things it knows, but it can also project based on the things it knows. I think it changes the whole nature of how much more we can do, right? It's not crazy to think of 5,000 attendees, 5,000 different shows. Do you know what I mean? Because each show is constructed for you in a way that makes it truly a unique experience. And that doesn't seem like crazy talk anymore. It seems like achievable, at least in a relatively short period of time.
So many great insights from Bejan. Next, we'll hear from Josh Shepard, Head of Event Technology and Innovation at Atlassian.
AI is exciting. I think we're living in an inflection point in history, whether we like it or not. But AI is enabling us to do things like dynamic call to action. So rather than having fixed things on a page, the next steps that people are doing are all recommended by everything that is known about the person. Almost the concept of if you Google a t-shirt, then all my ads suddenly change to t-shirts. Well, why can't we do the same sort of thing for helping people along their journey? So that's a big one. Personalization, I think, is a huge thing for AI. In content experience, next steps, I think it's going to revolutionize everything. But we're also looking at AI for internal things like automation for our events team, components of content and processes, call for speakers, attendee management. All those things can make the lives of internal, like I think we often think just of the attendees, but there's a lot that can be done with those kind of tools internally. So those are big things. I would say the other technology we're exploring is we're rethinking the alignment between content and viewer and sort of build more intentional, concise connections with content. And that's what they want. And then provide the attendees with content and experiences that align with how the audiences already experience online. So we're not teaching them a new way to find things. We're providing it in the way they would expect and allow them to search and find and discover the way they already do on the internet. So kind of aligning that. I think that's an exciting technology to dig down that way.
And with some closing remarks, Megan Henshall, Global Event Strategist at Google.
Our core mission across all the work at XI, certainly as we explore, event technologies and emergent technologies as well, is to deepen our understanding of experience and the different dimensions of experience that we design for, the different levers that we pull in those dimensions. And so we really are trying to better understand how the solutions we offer, whether it be physical space solutions or technology solutions, impact the cognitive and emotional resonance for our audiences and attendees. So right now, we're really just trying to better understand what gaps and opportunities exist. We're testing a lot of things. And I think from that deeper understanding, we can start to solution. But, we're exploring things like techno-social norms and how pulling people in and out of digital environments in this very hybrid world impacts them, right? Product inclusion and accessibility, cognitive load, resonance and engagement. All of these things are big questions we have to answer for hybrid events, right? But I do think predictive and generative AI has some really exciting prospects across all of these dimensions. But again, I think we really have to test, we have to assess with our particular user groups and communities. We have to listen and observe, and then we'll have to iterate really to figure out the best ways to leverage AI technology plus any other event technologies. Yeah, so we're still really early days with this research project, but I'm really excited about the approach. One of the futures that we think is, holds a lot of promise and possibility is what we're calling experiential alchemy. And it's where we combine different design practices to create something that is greater than the sum of its parts, right? So we have an architecture firm, HKS, partnering with us on this project. So we're looking at it from designing for states of being and environmental design and how we program those space containers, right, with experiential design. So I'm really excited about the approach. But I think some of the things we're hearing in discovery and talking to scientists and experts in these spaces is, for AI specifically, is that we can potentially use AI to curate and personalize, right, and automate some of that. We're already seeing a lot of that with predictive AI that exists everywhere already. But we could maybe do a better job of this in our space, and like using AI to measure, perhaps in a less invasive way for our audiences is really exciting to me. Using it to analyze sentiment data, using it to benchmark. I think the possibility of using AI to accelerate standardization around inclusion, different design interventions and affordances for different folks, across DEI and B is really exciting to me. And then I think once we have more standardization and we can automate, right, accelerate that journey, we use that to empower our audiences to mitigate their own choices, right, and really lean into the things that make sense for them. So I definitely see a lot of possibility. And I know tools are already emerging in, events like the Project Spark technology that PCMA has just launched. That's a lot of like self-automation for rote tasks for event professionals, right? So I think there's a lot of ways we're already dabbling, and I see a lot of exciting possibility for the future.
Thanks to all our wonderful guests. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next time for another episode of Virtually Live, the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.